no point in doing a countdown now, Josh. That ship has sailed. I don't know. Freddie did a better countdown. So the team are back. Team makes. Making us late. Apparently it helps if I put my microphone on. Good morning, everyone. How are you? Just, yeah, like I say, putting my microphone on. Oh, gosh, lovely sunny day. This morning, nice cup of tea. Lots of you had been asking for, well, every time I did English paper piecing, this came out. And lots of you were asking, could I make that? Well, that was made out of sewable, washable paper. So, I was like, because I've got a folded what do I do? So, oh, here we are live. Better turn the volume down. There's me slurping tea, lovely. So I had to try and find the paper. I can't find it. I cannot find this paper. I even asked the old buyer for sewing quarter where he got it from. I am still looking for it. And then actually it turns out that a lot of you who had it haven't used it yet, naughty. And it's fab, get out and use it. This one was the one that you stuffed in the washing machine, and the more you washed it and tumble dried it, the more distressed it looked. But what I found instead was this stuff. And this is sewable paper. It's really weird. It's really weird. So the thing is, right, you can, if you want it to look distressed, you just do that to it. And so, you know, you can absolutely do that, and then it will look a little bit distressed, like that. But that, I mean, that is this, I was playing this morning, that is it in its most basic of forms. That is just the paper with a line of stitching down the side. So I wanted to put it through its paces today and see, like, the world's tiniest pouch. Oh, look. Great if you're going swimming or something like that, you know, pop a little, or just to keep in your car, that's not obviously money. What else did I make? So to see whether or not it did actually sew, and you could sew, remember those pouches that I made the other day that had the darts, the V darts and everything in there? Look at that. Sews up a treat, and in turning through, that is when you get the distress look. And I have to say, absolutely gorgeous. Also, my mind was a little bit all over the place this morning, and I had to unpick all of that as well because I sewed it on the wrong way. Wasn't quite thinking. So you can unpick it and restitch as well. Bit good, isn't it? So that's what we're looking at today, and the actual make that we're going to do today, excuse me stretching, is this. Ooh. So this is my latest version. Oh, someone's happy. Of the EPP pouch, and you've got a full pouch there. I mean, this could end up being a little wallet or a little hand bag or whatever size you want to do it. It's got little pockets there, all made out of your paper with a little clear tab. Now these are, there we go. These are my ones, but you'll see these are my ones. And these work with this. And if you're going for the pliers, the snap pliers, and they're so easy to use, that way rather, then these come with 25 free, was it 25 or is it 50? I can't remember. A little pack of the navy ones, and I've thrown those in for free to get you going with your pliers. But then if you want all the colours, then I think there's like 15 sets of each colour in there, or is it 15 colours? I can't remember which way around it is. Oh, it's 15 different colours there. You've got cream, white, clear, red, pink, lilac, mint, yellow, green, light blue, dark blue, purple, black, grey, and then that one, which is really handy and I've used a lot. That is like a bronzy colour. Nice, isn't it? So they've been incredibly useful with this. And then just to update you on a few other things as well, I managed to get more stock of this. We're down to the last 8 now on these. And then if you look for the complementary wadding, then the wadding sheets, the wadding is enough wadding for each of those, because you'll want wadding for that bit, wadding for that bit. And it'll either come as a complete piece like that, or a piece that size and a piece that size. But basically it'll cover that. Also threads, we managed to load more threads as well. So if you wanted, this was 20,000 meters of thread, and the contents will vary. If you are buying multiples, then I'll have a rummage around and I'll try and get you ones with some different colours in, you know, as much as I can, so that you can, you know, you've got some variety. But it's just great. I always have thread. This is what I take with me. I was starting to show you this the other day, wasn't I? Let me scissors out of the way. This is always what I take with me to Hochanda. So I always have a basket of threads. So I've got some greens in there, the really useful greys. I've got a white. Now this one is brilliant. Looks a bit murky, but disappears. That's your magic disappearing thread. Got a couple of those. Oh no, it's a lighter shade. They're really useful. Some bright purples in there, navy, dark green. Again, that's actually, that would look really nice with the Serble paper today, wouldn't it? So I've always basically got a colour in there that I know will work, and that's fab. So they are up on the website, and they are just $9.99. They should be $29.99, but as I was saying yesterday, because we are in the process now of moving into the warehouse finally, then it's a matter of how much do we want to take in there with us, how much do we want to lug, or do we want to bring in fresh stock, and then you guys can reap the benefits. So it's basically our summer sale. And also to let you know, we will endeavour to get all of these orders out before I go away, but I am going away on Friday, so, and I'm at Hochanda on the Thursday, so I will endeavour to get as many of these orders out. And then next week we have Kate's interview on Monday, and that will air instead of the show. So I'm not leaving you with nothing. It's nearly 2 hours long. We had a good old chat. And so that's all been edited. Thank you, Bex, for doing that. And that is ready to go. And on those days, we will also, so that will be the day, might be the day, we might launch it before, but basically there'll be loads of Cave fabric on the website. There will be Cave's book for you to pre-order, and all of these things, and they'll be signed as well, signed Cave books. And then I will fulfill those orders the first week of August. So there will be a little bit of delay on next week, August, but I've had 3 days off this year. Yeah, so if that's okay with you, I'm going to take a week and have some family time. And then when I'm back, catch up with everything, and that will all be good. I mean, they're all in boxes. All of the fabrics are cut and ready to go in boxes. It's so organised, like you wouldn't believe. It's been a military operation getting to this point. So to get a break, you work yourself into the ground to have a break. There is method in that madness, I'm sure, somewhere. If we dig around, we'll find it. But yeah, so I'm going away for some family time. And what else to tell you? Yeah, and then so the rest of next week, look out on the website, because there will be special offers on every day. Like I say, it's our summer sale. We'll have a week of summer sales, special offers, and then when we come back, that should clear everything. We can get into the warehouse, and then we are good to go, and we will fill that. I've already put in the orders that should be here the first week of August to start filling that. I'm very excited for the fabrics we've got coming up, and actually for August shows, because a lot of those are planned as well, which is great. So I'm not on Hochanda. I'm focusing next month on Natasha Makes and getting in there, and also because childcare is, you know, always fun in August. So I'm going to be here at home and doing that. Right, okay. The other thing, I suppose I really need to mention, a lot of you have seen on Facebook, and our studio dog Arthur passed away yesterday, so today will be quite a short show. But we do have a show because, you know, the show must go on. And yeah, but it was a bit of a day yesterday. So thank you for all your messages. Yeah, well, yeah, it's the irony, isn't it? This actually arrived yesterday because, you know, we've got to support the arts. Emma, who does my accounts, and we worked for the Royal Shakespeare Company. That's how we met for many years. And I worked in 8 different departments there because I wanted to know how theatre worked before I went off to train to be an actor. And I've dipped in and out of the arts all my life. So this is appropriate on many levels this morning. So there we go. Who have we got with us this morning? Without further ado, Christine. I've never seen it spelled that way. What a lovely, nice spelling. And April, good morning, April as well. And Kaz, hello, hello. And Claire, hello. And Karen, hello, hello. And Heather. And Michelle, good morning. And Laurie as well, hello. And Jane, hello, hello, hello. And Alison says it's sunny in South Wales. It's rather sunny in Warwickshire as well, actually. Oh, now Anne says, good evening, Natasha. It's 7 p.m. on Tuesday evening here. Oh, so Anne is another Australian viewer. I think I've got the right, yeah, I think. So yes, good morning, Anne. Thank you ever so much for joining us all the way from Australia. And good morning to Helen and Barbara. Hello, hello. And Heather and Michelle. Oh, Michelle. Michelle said with the washable paper, she bought it, washed it, and did anything else with it. Oh, it was the easiest stuff to sew with. And Hannah says, good morning, Natasha, rocking the t-shirt. Well, thank you very much. Hello, hello, hello. Margaret says, good morning. Had to laugh at the juxtapose of the shirt, a t-shirt and no sound. Well, yeah, I mean, no one said it. The show's on. No one said we had to have all the technical bits in place, right? And Fiona's excited about the paper. It looks awful. Awesome. Not awful. It's not awful. It's lovely. It's actually paper. Not very stiff fabric. No, it is actually paper. Obviously, it's got a coating to it so it doesn't rip and tear. But yeah, it is, which is really weird because it folds like paper. So you're going to see it's very, very easy to use and to work with. And so, yeah, of course it does. It creases, and I think it creases and looks even better. When I put this photo out, I sent this photo to Emma this morning saying, look at the paper, it's amazing. And she said, isn't that leather? Because it does, when it's all crumpled, it does sort of look a bit like leather, doesn't it? I love it. I think it's great. So that is on the website. There is an olive version. And if enough of you want the olive version, then that's absolutely fine. That will be a delayed dispatch because it's been ordered. It's not here yet. Do you remember yesterday? I was like, we've got things on their way. Yeah. You have those companies that are normally really good at delivering and then don't, and it throws everything. So you've always got to be ready for anything. Now, the lining, I've got to put that in there. I'm trying to keep everything together this morning. The lining fabric is this, and this is from Barry J. It's from Art Gallery Fabrics. Let me show you close up, and I love it. I think it is absolutely beautiful. And Art Gallery Fabrics, AGF's Fabrics, they have a slogan which is on every selvage, which is feel the difference. And you really can. So their fabric is made from premium cotton, and it's it feels almost halfway between a lawn cotton and your quilting weight cotton, but it's super tough. Because the cotton fibres are so fine, then the weave is so tight, so it's super, super durable. I, for many years, lived under the miscomprehension that lawn fabrics, like Liberty Lawn, was far more delicate. You had to be really careful with it. No, 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 forget that, forget that. Lawn fabric is incredibly tough. And there are some companies like Land's End, I don't know if they still do it, but they use cotton lawn and this kind of cotton, and they put a lifetime guarantee on their clothes. I know because I did a show at the NEC and they were the stand right next to us. And so I was talking to them about fabrics and they're like, yeah, so we have this. And I said, this is crazy. You never tell anybody that your fabrics have a lifelong guarantee on them. She's like, oh yeah, no, maybe we should tell more people. I said, yes, yes, you should. Anyway, we digress. But suffice to say, it feels divine. It's got a beautiful weight. It's lovely to work with. Just gorgeous, just gorgeous. So yeah, and we had it the other week. I don't know if you remember last week. We had it with the PU, with the brown PU, because that just works an absolute treat. So I've got a handful of those left if anybody wanted those, but otherwise it's being sold by the half metre. Like I say, it's an art gallery fabric. And the other art gallery fabric that I've got today for you, oh, now this was Pat Bravo, who I'm kind of getting into, but look, if I just slide that over there, I mean, I couldn't really ask for a better match, could I? So the fabric is available, the paper is available by the half metre, and the fabrics are available by the half metre. So basically you choose what you would like. Yeah, that's the way shopping works, isn't it? You decide what you would like. Yeah. Now I'm going to show you how I made the pouch, and I will. Oh yeah, I'd probably better ask one of the teams to actually load the load the instructions for it. And what should we call it? Should we just call it the paper pouch? It was going to be the English paper pouch, but I guess it is just a paper pouch, isn't it? Weirdly. So you could, I mean, when I made this one, this was my English paper piecing pouch, which is what everyone's always wanted, out of the sewable paper. And I literally just folded and put everything in and then just overlocked the edges. And you can do that with this fabric. You absolutely can. But then I know that if I just do that on a show and just overlock the edges, there'll be those of you that don't have an overlocker who will say, oh, well, I can't have it because you need to overlock it. And you don't. You absolutely do not need to overlock this at all. So you can overlock like I did with that. You don't need to at all. The one thing that I would say to you, so let's just have a little note. Don't iron it. It does not want to be ironed, I discovered. Or if you do, don't put it on a really hot setting. I have managed to press it gently through a pressing cloth on a very, very cool setting. I mean, like, I probably would huff hotter on it if huffing was anything that we were allowed to do anymore. But yeah, don't do that. It doesn't like that. It's got a coating on it so that it doesn't tear, and that's the coating that goes, no thanks. Oh, Joe Carter's watching. Good morning, Joe. What are you going to make for us next? I have used the medium interfacing, and for anybody that ordered it, it came in on Friday, finally. Again, another delay. Yay, love delays. So that went out Saturday and Monday in those orders that I packed up over the weekend. So if you're waiting for these, it will be with you in the next day or so. But this is what I've used on the fabric. And you know what I didn't do this morning when I made this? I didn't write down the dimensions. So let's see if I can remember. Everybody loves a mystery show, right? Tidying, 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 tidying as I get that. Hang on, where's that come out of? It's come out of my EPP wallet. I always carry spares. always carry spares of the glue sticks. Always, because once I get going, that's it. There's no stopping me. Alrighty, so we're going to make this. Put that there. Oh yeah, that looks nice there. And then let's see what we have got. God, I've made a right old mess this morning. A right old mess. I got waylaid by the vet on the phone because she was ringing with, you know, the horse that had colic. Yeah, all his allergy results came back because he's also got a bit of horsey asthma. So his allergy results came back this morning, so she wanted to talk to me about that, which is another reason why I'm running a little bit late. So we get there in the end. Now the paper, I've just taken off a strip. It's really weird. It's 44 inches. I'd like to say selvage, but it's not woven, so it doesn't have a selvage. 44 inches usable of usable stuff. Now, I suddenly thought, gosh, how am I actually going to send this to you? And I thought, shall I roll it? But the trouble is, like, if I roll it and then it gets squashed, then you've got extra creases. So it will just be folded, but not, you know, as loosely as I can possibly manage, and into one of my book mailers. And obviously it will crease, but it's paper, so it creases. That's the best way, and it really, the more you use it, the more it creases, and to my mind, kind of the better it looks. So don't worry about that at all. So the first thing that we're going to do is cut ourselves, and actually there we go. Let's just fold that and fold that anyway. And I'm going to cut myself a little, I've put it there. Oh, it was 10 inches, yeah. You know, you have that moment of, what did I actually do? What size did I make it? What did I cut it? So this is where, obviously, having something like your Stripology means that you're going to be able to cut it easily, accurately, which is always good. And then unravel it. I cut it at, so I then did it double, so 20 inches. Ba, 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 ba. There we go. All right, and then I folded it in half, and then this bit I folded down again, and that is the start of the pouch. Okay, and that is going to be that front pocket. Now, obviously on that front pocket, I also have the popper. So actually what I did was then fold it down another time just to give it something to hang on to. So I then fold that down by another inch. Oh, it's so exciting. And what I did in order to help me fold it down was open it up, and on that inch line, if you have got, and actually I should probably start stocking this, if you've got one of the trio pens, not the ones with the 3 different colours, but you've got one that looks like a biro without any ink in it, it's kind of a scorer, very gently. Or if you've got a Hera marker, or if you are a paper crafter and you've got anything like that, just very gently, and I do mean very gently, score. Don't know if you can see. There you go, yeah. So I've just scored a line, and that's going to give me then that marker to just fold down. Now stitches, I'm going to stitch along the top of there. I'm going to use my 1/4 inch foot, and what I've also done is use the 1/4 inch foot with a 1/4 inch edge on it. Let me show you. So this here, this is it. You know, the one that looks, if I knew more about sailing, you have to help me out here. Is that like the rudder or the bit that sends you off in different directions? Like, I really don't think about sailing at all, but that's what it reminds me of. So I will pop it up. Oh no, hang on, there was something else that I did before all of this, and that was, you know, we talk about donkeys, leaders, whatever you want to call them. What I did with this was use one, very much so with this, because if I didn't, I want to avoid that nesting. You know how sometimes it just gets caught? I want to avoid that, and I want it to just look fabulous. So that's what I'm going to do. I've got to remember that there's some money in there. The other thing is, you'll notice I am not using just a straight stitch. Do you want to see what I'm using? This is the triple stitch. Now on your machine, it probably looks like 3 little dashes in a line. Now as soon as that comes onto there, right, as soon as that is in there, I'm going to do a triple stitch just to hold it. But actually, probably don't need to. So you'll notice it's going backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. I could have just done a normal straight stitch and that would be absolutely fine. But, I just wanted my stitching. I toyed with the idea, let me move my tea out of the way. I toyed with the idea of using a funky coloured thread, something that looked, but then I just thought, actually, I wanted to go with simplicity. I didn't want to detract from the beautiful texture of this. I mean, it really is beautiful. I don't know, I mean, before you use it and it gets creases and wrinkles and looks like aged leather, it looks like almost wood. Which I guess it is, isn't it? It is a kind of wood, it's paper. I should probably speed this up a little bit. So what this does, and I will show you in just one moment. There we go. That is what a triple stitch does. So it just goes back and forth on itself a lot. So I use this a lot in bag making, handle making, anything like that. And it just gives it a little bit more definition. Now over this end here, where I use that leader, can you see I haven't got any of that nasty bit of thread. There you go. Super neat and tidy, right? I mean, let's be honest, looking around the studio, it's about the only thing that's neat and tidy. Right, so we have now got that, and if you do end up with an edge that is slightly like that, then don't worry. Can you just see? That's the post office calling. A little bit of an edge there. Just trim it back. Just trim it back. You have the technology. It's all good. Just trim it back. And because where you you would have done your stitches, your holding stitch just slightly beyond it. There you go. Oh. There you go. No longer a problem, looking super, super duper swanky. So that is my first bit. Just had a moment where I was like, what? Got myself a little discombobulated there. Which way around does it go? Which way around does it go? So there we go. That is the first bit there. Okay. Now, this will fold over at the top, which is absolutely fine. So again, just trying to remember how far I folded this over. Dink-de-dink-de-dink. Around or about 3 inches. Really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. 1, 2, 3. And again, which one is this? I've picked up the wrong one. Line it up and then just very, very, very gently. If you go too heavy, then it's just to give you a very slight line for your crease. Okay, so it is literally very, very gently, so that you then know that's where you are going to fold it down to. Oh, apart from I folded mine down further on that one. How have I just... Oh, there we go. We'll do it to there. Now, you'd normally be... Yeah, that's about it. You'd normally be thinking, well, hang on a minute. What about seam allowances and stuff like that? I don't need it because that is just a plain edge. Like, that's not going to fray or anything like that. If I show you with the paper, look, you can't, it doesn't rip and tear. You have to cut it. It's really strange, really strange. So that will eventually, you'll put your little peg on that. If you want to fold it over a little bit more, then you can. The only reason that I haven't is because I'm going to put another layer of pockets and stuff in there. Now, the other thing as well to bear in mind is that we're going to have a lining. Remember this one had a lining? This was 10 by 20, so I'm going to cut the lining 11 by 11. Okay. And you might be wondering why I'm going bigger. Because this is actual fabric, I will add a seam allowance onto this. So well, this is now horribly in the way now, isn't it? Move that for you. My trusty hammer there, yeah. And let's spin this around. Okay, there are various ways that you can do the next bit. Okay, I have chosen, Emma was laughing at me this morning because she's like, oh, looks really neat. And I said, I really feel like my sewing is improving because I'm doing so much sewing now. And, finally, of course, your skills catch up, right? I was in a really odd position with my sewing, just pop the iron on, whereby I had spent years around experts and I just dabbled, and I'd always, been working, so I hadn't had the time to do all the sewing that I wanted to do. So then all of a sudden, when sewing becomes my full-time job, but me actually sewing, I have all the knowledge because I've always paid attention to all the incredible experts that I've worked with. But what I haven't had were the hours in front of the machine. So I was a bit strange in that regard. Some people just say, oh, you could just stop it, you're just a bit strange. And that's okay too. But yeah, so, but it's now, I mean, we're what, how many months in now? And finally, you know, my sewing skills are catching up, and I've found the tools that I really like and I really rate to get the effects that I want to have. And that is what is making the difference. The biggest thing was the Stripology ruler. That was a biggie, because all of a sudden you're cutting straight. But then having all the other little rulers so that you can just trim anything back if something's a bit wonky or anything, really, really, really useful. What am I doing? I've just turned the fabric. I don't need to turn this. So now I'm going to cut. Oh no, I'm doing that thing again, aren't I, where I've been chatting and therefore totally forgotten. No, I was right. I had already turned it, therefore completely forgotten what I'm actually doing. Oh, this is just shut. I didn't want to open a new packet. I might live to rue the day I didn't open a new packet of interfacing. So anyway, this is going to be my interfacing, and it is smaller. It is an inch smaller all the way around than my actual fabric. And I will place it with, so a ½ an inch extra around. Now, what that ½ inch is going to do, and let's just check I've got that on the right way, yeah, is very, very gently pop that on there, and then I'll spin it and do it from the top. What that extra around the edge is going to do is allow me to fold. And then what that extra fold is going to do is reinforce that high use area where the popper is, if you want to use a popper. Now, my original EPP pouch has never had a popper, and I've never had a problem with it. So it's up to you whether you put the clasps on or not. Entirely up to you. Those little plastic snaps, the cam snaps, have been great, and they've worked an absolute treat with that. Oh, this fabric, I just love it. So what I've done is I've interfaced. I've just put a medium weight interfacing on the back there. Again, because you can't apply heat to this, you could always use a sew-in stabilizer, or you could spray based a stabilizer if you wanted to do it onto the actual paper. But actually, what I've done and what I've found really, really useful is just to fold over the edge, using as a guide, and just finger press that edge that we've just cut. So because we've gone with the interfacing ½ an inch smaller all the way around, and now's the time to get out your quilter's tape. Okay, I love this stuff. I use it for all kinds of things, but this I found really, really helpful. And all I'm doing is applying it along the top there, so that where I finger where I've just folded over, there we go, and then I will just give that a quick press, and then I'll come back. And if you want to, so this is a little bit like when you use the templates with your English paper piecing. It's pretty much like that. You're using the edge of the interfacing to give you something to press against. So that's why I made sure that I cut it, you know, cut it accurately. If you want to miter the corners, you can, but just be aware, I did try it, and because I just sort of cut a little triangle of fabric off the edge, You just need to be a little bit careful that that you don't cut too far. I did on one, so then I got cautious because then I did end up with a little thread showing. But this only takes a minute. So again, I'm going to use the edge of that interfacing. This is why, partly why I'm using a medium weight. There we go. And I'm popping the tape on the very, very top line. Now, I'm always cautious. This is tape made for quilters, so of course it shouldn't gunk your needle. But as far as I'm concerned, why risk it? If there is any chance it's going to gunk my needle, I can reduce that by popping it at the very edge where I'm not going to sew. So if that is a 1/2 inch and I'm working with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, I'm not going to go, shouldn't really touch it. But like I say, these are tapes that are made for quilters, so they shouldn't. I'm just cautious. There we go. So it takes a few little moments just to get this right, but hey. If you wanted to use your EPP glue, of course, that's another way that you could do this. Absolutely. We've all got our little things, haven't we, that we use. There we go. And there you have your square, and then I would just press it. There we are. And what did I... here it is. So this will sit in here, actually in there. Like so. And I think when I made this first time round, I popped this in, and then if you needed to just readjust that fold on the base, then you can. So what I'm going to do is, in a moment, I will just put a little line of stitching along there just to hold that in place. Okay, so it is all a little bit unusual. Let's just call it unusual. And I'm going to sew from the top because what I want to get is, just center that nicely. Now what you can do, if this goes over, there we are. Move that down. You can, because you've used the quilter's tape, you can always reposition those sides if they are slightly squiffy in any way. Something's a little bit off here. Oh, you know, I said that I would probably rue the day that I didn't quite make it straight. Yeah, I'm ruining it now, everyone. Ruining it now. Clips. Use those clips. Don't use your pins because you will mark it. All right. And then I'm going to sew from the top down. Let's just find where we are. And again, where's my little snibbity bit? Hang on. Everything's going walkies this morning. Right. So, just using this, like I said, because I don't want to catch any threads. And off we go. Of course, this takes a little bit extra time because you're going backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. Because we're on a triple stitch. Now, I guess if you had wanted to spray baste or anything, then you could. I didn't. Whee! There we go. Now, just towards the end, I'm going to do a triple stitch there just to hold it. Not a triple stitch, you know, there we go. And that's that done and in place. Fancy trying to remember what order I did all this in. So now you've got that, that's going to be your lining there. And so that will, if you need to readjust anything, push it away. And then if you need to just refold that, then do in any way, then just refold. It's, you know, it's so forgiving, it's absolutely fine. And then that will come down and fold towards there. And as I said to you, like this is ever so slightly over, so I can, because I've only used quilter's tape, I can just reposition that, pull that out and pull that seam in a little bit if I need to. So don't be afraid to, don't think, oh my gosh, that's that, you know, done. If a little bit is poking out, then just bring it in and fold it ever so slightly differently. There we go. And there. And now that sits within that seam. So don't be afraid of this. Don't be afraid to reposition anything that you need to, refold anything that you need to. It's all good. There we go. So now that is sitting nice and square. Let's show you that. That's all sitting nice and square. Now, you can absolutely just sew up the sides and you have a pouch. But what you guys loved was the fact that I had different layers. And this now becomes personal preference as to how many you now want to add in. So, I cut a 10-inch strip, didn't I? Here we go. And you can decide how big or where you want your next pocket to be. So what I will do is just neaten up that edge there. Gosh, everyone's ringing this morning. Go away, everybody. Go away. Never knew I was so popular. Okay, so I've just neatened up that edge there. And let's have a little measure. Let's see how far up we want to maybe do. This is the itty bitty one, by the way. Have you guys seen the itty bitty ruler? Oh, it's awesome. So, oh, it's got all the markings. And down here, it's got all of your eighths. It's your itty bitty eighths ruler. It's awesome. And they do a little 6x6 one. I love it. been using it loads, really enjoying it. So decide basically how far up you want it to be. So I might decide that I would like it to be 5 inches along there. So all I would do then is cut my paper at 10 inches. So line that all up. You can either use your stripology, but you know, every now and then I'll throw in the old traditional way of cutting, so that we don't forget how we can do all of that as well. So yeah, lining up, this is my 10-inch line on my cutting mat, so I'm going to line up my ruler along there. If you don't have a ruler that is, you know, 10 inches, and cut there. And then at 5 inches again, I'm going to very, very gently, and I do mean very, very gently, just score, just to help that fold. I mean, it really is tiny, 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 tiny. But like you would score paper, that's what you're doing there. And then just, you know, just have another little double check. I've got a little bit of white showing there. So I will just even and trim that up ever so slightly. Remember that this is going to sit in, so it doesn't matter. You can just square stuff up, trim any little white bits back that would annoy you, because this is paper, we don't, and it's not going to fray. You can absolutely do this without having to fold the seams. Now, so you say, well, does that mean that you can't sew it with seams? Absolutely not. Look, this is one of those pouches that I made the other day. All sewn, all turned through, no problem at all. Absolutely none. In fact, I really rather love this. And I think numerous people the other day said, oh, I would keep my masks in there. And I thought, what a great idea. And what I've also got on my next delivery are little antibacterial tins, so that you can put your mask in an antibacterial tin. And I thought I'd just put it in one of those and then keep it in the car, and then I know I've got it. All right, so now I'm going to, so that's my pocket ready to go. I'm going to top stitch again along there, as I've done with everything else. Off we jolly well go. Now, what a lot of you will be noticing is that I'm choosing here to use the guide on the edge of the foot. It just helps me keep straight, especially because this stitch goes backwards and forwards quite a lot. I want every way to help me keep straight with this. But I really do love the effect it gives. And again, really neat ends. Chop that off. Neaten up that. And we are good to go. But, we could easily, right now, just slip that pocket in there and go, well, that's fine, we're done. Just sew up there. But, I know you guys absolutely love compartments. So you have a choice with this. You can either open it out and sew through all the layers, but then you'll get the stitches on the back. And what you'll notice with this is that I have no stitches on the back. It's all covered. So instead, what I did is, again, get my marker, mark my 5-inch mark, So I did a pocket just right down the middle. You can divide it up if you wanted. It's entirely up to you how many pockets you do. And then just going to clip these in place. Thank goodness for quilters clips, right? What else would we do? Just make sure I've got that. And again, I'm double checking myself the whole time because I don't want to have to unpick a triple stitch. Although with my new, this is my new love. I absolutely adore it. I've shown you this, haven't I? It's got, well, it looks like a little beehive on the top, but it's rubber. So when you have to undo a lot of stitching like I had to this morning, it just pulls it all out. Unpick, and then just gently rub that across your fabric and it just pulls all those stitches out that otherwise you're sitting there going, having to get your tweezers on. So yeah, love those. I think it's called a seam fix. Fixed mine. So yeah, I'm just double checking myself the whole time, and then I'm just going to pop those clips in there and there and there. One more there. And what I'm going to do is just stitch down there, but not through all of it. Ha! No, not through all of it. I will have to change my foot for this. So let's change my foot to just an open toe. Here we go. So open toe. I'm going to start at the base here. So you're not going to see this stitch because it's going to be within. Get that centered absolutely. And then off we go. Following that line that I have, I've just scored. And then at the top, this is up to you. So at the top, I will just go a stitch over there. Okay, and then I'm going to go back and lock that off. Because if you are heavy with your pockets, how smart does that look? I love this fabric. It just, scrumptious. Right, so where are we at with it now? It's all looking a bit weird, isn't it? So you can trim any bits off that you like. You have a quick clear here. There's a lot of debris going on. And that, of course, now is all secured in place. And of course you've only stitched onto the back of that, so the back of your wallet you won't actually see. Fold that up like so. There we go. Right. Make sure you are happy with all your fold lines. If there's any bit that you want to just trim back, do it. But otherwise, you can now start to sew. I am going to start to sew. You're going to see, well, you're going to open it, aren't you? So the stitches obviously look most attractive from the top. And so for me, I will stitch, just trying to think which bit I'm going to see most of. I think I'm going to have it open most of the time because I use my pouches. So what I'll do is I will start from the top here and sew down. Let's just pop a little. Now everything should be where it needs to be. Again, if you need to refold, do whatever you need to do, but do it now. And just have a little sweep down. Make sure that you're happy with how that's all lying, because as you sew down, otherwise stuff might bunch. And then on we go. Oh, do you know what? You've seen the stitching, haven't you? But I will just swap it back across to this foot, because it's this bit here. So my fabric is always pushing against there, which is just helping me keep everything in line. And when I first discovered these feet as a 1/4 inch foot with a guide, I was like, where has that been all my life? Like, seriously, where has that been? I couldn't stitch a straight line. I was awful, really bad. Now, okay, once I'm in, at some point I will just do that holding stitch. Because this is a triple stitch back and forth, is it that necessary? Possibly not. But if you are planning, as I am, on using this a lot, let's just not risk it, hey. So down we come, making sure that everything is aligned nicely. Whee! And you see, there's no bother sewing through it at all. Like, the machine doesn't struggle. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 layers there. How smart does that look? I would also actually make, you know, we had the wallets. I would make wallets out of this, because it like I say, it looks, for all intents and purposes, like leather. So why not? There we go. And off we go. Oh, hello. Have I come unstitched? I've come undone somewhere. Uh-oh. What happened there? Oh, I've come undone. Is that the end of my bobbin? Let's have a little look. I know you guys call it sort of warts and all sewing, but and that's my fault. I just did that little knot just too close to the edge. It's kind of important for me that you see that anybody who sews at some point will have a machine that comes undone, and that it's what happens, and it's okay, and not to panic. Or that at some point your needle is going to snap. Like, if you are someone who stitches, that will happen at some point. And you know, gosh, I've worked in the wonderful world of TV enough, and worked where, you know, oh gosh, there's a problem with the machine. Cut away. We must pretend that all our machines are perfect. Half the time it's not even the machine, it's just user error. I mean, the number of times that I've rethreaded a machine and just not put the thread through the tensioners properly. So of course it just unthreads all the time. It took me ages to work out what was going on. Like, what is happening there? Are we all good? Yeah. No, we come undone again. What is going on? Now, I don't know. So basically, every time we get to that lump on the back, it's going, no thanks. So this time, I will rethread once, and if it's still having a problem with it, I will rethread the bottom as well. Now I'm getting towards the end, and that is sometimes a problem with machines when you get towards the very end. So it might be that, but it's all these different things to look out for. So this time, and again, this is what I mean, you can, it doesn't matter, you can still stitch through your paper. I had to this morning because I had to unstitch, I had to unpick. So let's just start slightly further up. It's come undone again. That is very strange. Right, do you know what? I will get to the bottom of this, but you basically stitch along there and you will have your pouch. What I want to show you is, I will get to the bottom of that. I don't know why that's doing that. What I want to show you is how to put in your popper. Decisions on colours. I might put in a purple this time. And if you go for the starter pack, then you get 15 different colours. And you just need to find the right bits. Now, the other week we had the anorak and the heavy duty clips. Ba-ba! And I got over my fear of those. These are so easy, so easy. What I would say is that if you've got your clips from your starter set, then it's got a really useful, and I'll show you in a minute. I'm just trying to find the bit that I need, and there's one little bit that always slips to the bottom because it's the smallest out of everything. Haha, there we go. You need to have with these the pointy outy bit. Yeah, if I show it up here, the pointy outy bit, and then the bit that it goes into. But with this one, unlike the heavy duty snaps, you will use one of those with each. So if you've got the heavy duty snaps, and I meant to say to you actually, the heavy duty snaps, they have refills as well. So if you were going for, say, the gold colour and then you wanted to have the nickel silver colour, you don't have to keep buying the starter sets. You can just buy the refill packs. Now, I'm going to decide where I want that to be. I've already got my centre point marked here because that's where my stitching line went. If you've got one of the heavy duty kits, then you'll have this really handy little blue bit, which means that before you sew everything together, you don't have to put your snaps in beforehand. I can now put my snap in now because that acts as a board of resistance. If you've got your awl, your tailor's awl, and again, I've got some more on order because loads of you went for it, and I'm just searching for mine. Ah, here it is. Some of your sewing machines will have come with them, but this has just revolutionised putting in any kind of clasp. And all you do is, so that's about the middle bit there. Just press down, that makes your hole. Let me show you that. So that makes the hole, and then the pointy bit is going to come through there, and then I tend to put the flatter bit in there. Now, the brilliant thing about this is how easy they are to use. So you're going to rest the back on the black bit and then literally just squeeze down and it's in. It's the by far and away the easiest one I've ever used. And then I'm just going to fold the lid over. I just sort of press down a bit. And that kind of shows me where I need to be. And And then again, if you've got a little pokey tool, well, yeah, this is the irony, isn't it? I'm now going to use my pokey awl to get the fabric that is stuck in my other awl. I think this has like a little hole in it just to poke all those bits out. They're meant to just fall out, I think. Haha, there we go. So yeah, I'm just, and this time I just go onto my cutting mat, doesn't matter, make myself that little hole, and this is why I wish I was tidier and neater. There we go, pop that in there. Do, 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 do. Again, it's that easy. And that's your top one in. Done. Super, super quick and easy. So I will be using these a lot from now on. And that's it. That's as easy as it is. So super, super easy. All I need to do is when I sort out what's going on, I think it's just because I've got a little lump of stitching. I've just got to take that stitching out because it's getting caught on it every time. But that's boring. They won't watch me do that. And there it is. That is your pouch. Now, the other thing is that you can, of course, you can do these in all different shapes and sizes and whatnot. And I just wanted to show you very quickly another really super easy make, because the other thing to bear in mind, and let me just even this off. Whoops. Whoops, if I actually go against the ruler, doesn't it? Because I know that some of you will be like, oh, well, you know, I quite like something to look a little bit different. How about getting out, and I did get it out, and now I don't know well for the life of me. Oh, here it is, what I've done with it. Haha! Your non-slip multi-side curved corner cutter. Because what I can now do is pop all these away so that you can see, curve off my corners. So again, we used this with a massive fleece, didn't we? So we used the biggest curve. It's got an itty bitty 1.5 inch radius curve as well. So I know so many of you bought this the other day, which is why I always want to use what I know lots of you have got. So line up your straight line, and then that gives you your curve. For the smaller ones, I tend to use a smaller rotary cutter. But look at that, perfect curve. And again, just line it up along here, like so. And then, how neat does that look? There's loads of different ways in which you can use the paper. You can just sew that and have it. And that was when I first started, because I wanted to see whether or not to scrunch it, how durable it would be. If when I scrunched it, that would be it, then it would be rubbish. But look, just with those clips that I've just used, it is absolutely strong enough. And then you've got yourself just a little pouch. But obviously if you want to line it or what have you, then do. And of course you can curve your fabric as well. I think it's great. I really, really, really rate it. And I think you're going to have loads and loads and loads of fun with it. Or Ooh, why didn't I think of this? You could have it so that you don't. What happens if you don't corner that? Oh, I want a bigger bit of fabric now. Sorry, I was about to finish then. Got a bit carried away. You could always have it so that that was stitched onto some fabric, and that would be obviously, and oh, that might have to be another make. Different fabric, maybe a Tilda Ditzy or something like that, or even just a plain. Oh, yeah, one of the Salt Batiks would look amazing with that. So that you are then showing off that curve, and I would stitch that onto there. Oh, I'm going to have a think and a play. But look, this morning out of a 1/2 metre, I've made that. I've made that. I had a practice with that. I made an itty diddy one as well. And I also had a practice with my little corner cutter going, oh, how many corners can I cut around here? So I had a really good play and had enough. I had all of this left over, all from a 1/2 metre. Because of course you're not losing anything on seam allowance or anything like that. So a 1/2 metre really does go an incredibly long way. I think it's something a little bit different. Ah, wouldn't it look amazing with Tim Holtz? There's still some Tim Holtz on the website. So have a look at that, see what you fancy. That is about it for today. Yeah. So thank you ever so much for all of your messages. I do read them. I do read them all. Steve says he's worried you'll burn your arm, so please shift it. What? What's the matter, Helen? What am I shifting? Yes, Linda, we've not had the best time with the animals right now. They say things come in threes, don't they? Ginny says that, yeah, it's the last kindness. Absolutely is, isn't it? So, yeah. Thank you. Thank you ever so much. Like I say, I'm going to be on holiday next week. So Kate's interview will be on Monday, so do not miss that. Josh has watched it. Is it all right, Josh?
Fantastic.
Yay! Josh enjoyed it. He said he got a deeper understanding of colour. And that's coming from a designer. So, yeah, hooray for that. And we just had a really lovely time anyway. Then, like I say, throughout the rest of the week, we're going to have loads of different deals and whatnot going on. But Monday is the Cave interview. It's where you can pre-order your signed copy. Yes. Your signed copy of Kate's book. And obviously, because I am the one that dispatches well over half, if not more, probably a good 75% now, thanks to COVID, of the orders. Please bear in mind that there will be a week's delay on getting those out, so please be patient. But yeah, we will be back with quilts and goodness knows what in the first week of August. So thank you ever so much for your time today, and stay safe, and I will see you in a little bit. Bye bye.